The world is in turmoil, can you hear the people cry? The cost of living's rising and I'm too young to die.
My introduction to the whole punk scene was through the Sex Pistols. Then I went to see Wayne Garabedian's band, The Subtractions, play at a gig at the Armenian Center, and I was hooked. I think they were actually unplugged in the middle of their gig, which made them even more awesome. The Mogul Bowl, a skate park, was also a focal point for the Fresno punk scene. My brother was really into skating, and I would take him there to check out the guys. I think Eric Suda worked there. He was an amazing skater. I also met Rick Struhar, Chuck Gillette, and a slew of other Fresno punks there. There were so many shows at the Belmont Ballroom in those early days. I think my first was the Dead Kennedys. Gina, Corrine, and I had all been friends during high school at Roosevelt. We all graduated together in 1980. The three of us felt like outsiders and were really punks before our time. We thought of a bunch of different names and would run to Tower Records to look in the alternative section to see if any other band had already had that name. Marcus Marutian, singer of the Subtractions, actually helped me come up with the Frigidettes. It was a sort of blend of Frigid and the MODETTES. The Frigid part was about us being cold to society's norms. We really wanted to be political. That's what really drew us to the whole scene. That and the anger and violence and angst of the music. We actually thought we could change the world with our music. It also felt great to be part of the scene. Cathy Pillybush just kind of ended up our bass player. She also went to Roosevelt, but was a few years behind us. She played bass for Toxic Shock for a while, and then kind of ended up with us. Our first gig ever was at Roding Park with a bunch of other Fresno bands. We played a bunch of other gigs after that. There was the Woodward Park gig, sort of an impromptu happening of bands after a gig at City College was canceled. The Fresno night at the Mad gig in San Francisco meant we had really made it as a punk band. We sort of felt like rock stars. A bunch of bands pitched in and got a couple of rooms in a seedy hotel off Market Street. Of course, we trashed the room in true punk style. Being on the Not So Quiet on the Western Front compilation was another notch in our punk belt. Sometimes Turmoil would be played on KFSR, and I just happened to catch it. It was so cool hearing it on the radio, knowing that I hadn't requested it. It meant someone out there really liked us. I wrote a play called Fresno's Dead that sort of chronicled our antics of the early 80s. It had a run at UC Davis. Rick Struhar and a few others came to see it. I do plan to produce it here in Fresno one day.
You want to have some fun, but someone's going to hurt you. It doesn't matter much. He has some virtue.
I'm not sure what happened to break us up. I know Gina, Corrine, and Cathy wanted to go a little more new wave and accessible. They went through a few singers and bass players after that, but nothing really worked out. We still talk about doing a Frigidette reunion gig every so often. Maybe it will happen one day.
But when they make mistakes, it's our lives they'll pursue. Never mind them. Never trust them. Their clever minds will be our destruction. But think, who'd have lost protecting our democracy?